Let's talk about some Friday Woodbine. We're going to talk about July the 14th, and we're going to dive into those daily racing form past performances. Remember, you can get the daily racing form past performances for free when you sign up for DRF bets. Very simple. All you have to do is go sign up and use the promo code winning. Follow these steps. Winning promo code gets you $10 free bet immediately when you register. Then they'll give you a match deposit bonus all the way up to $250. So deposit $250, they'll give you $250. All of a sudden, you've got $500 plus the $10 free bet. You got $510. All you had to put in was $250. They give you 10 free formulator PP cards. So the past performances that we're going to look at right now, you can stack up 10 of those to use any track that you want, any time that you want in the coming days. Following that, every $50 you wager through your DRF bets account, you will get credit for another formulator card. So that way, the more you bet, you'll be able to get these past performances. You won't have to spend money on those if you're already wagering through DRF bets. Let's dive on in and take a look at the past performances for Woodbine for Friday. Remember, Woodbine's first post on Friday now will be just 5 minutes earlier. They're going to start at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time, and that early pick five on Thursdays and Fridays, $50,000 guaranteed in the early pick five pool. It starts in race 2. You can play for just a 20-cent based wager. Let's dive on in to race number 2. I thought the one Harper City was a little bit interesting in here. He's a gelding who should get a nice setup. He's going to be making his third career start. Now he will face some horses that are dropping in class that have faced better, but seeing how it shapes up, I think the 2 Raging Bear with the speed in here is probably the horse to beat. And I think the one Harbor City could come of running if Raging Bear gets pressure from other horses in here like Ignite the Storm, who could be quick but has shown speed going a little bit longer. Serenade at Sea also wouldn't be surprised to see that one flash a little bit of speed. We could see combinations of 3 or 4 horses all go to the lead. That would set up then for some of the closers like the 4 and the 1. The 4, we've seen so many chances for this one, including chances at and around this level where, good efforts, consistent efforts, closing efforts, and just minor rewards. I thought a horse like the 1 was a little more intriguing. This horse was up to second to challenge with about 100 yards left before flattening out. It's a little bit better than it might look on paper. And I think the setup could be there as long as the rail draw isn't tricky. And he doesn't really seem like he has the running style to where the rail will hurt him that much. Usually the horses that will get the shuffle back early on because they're close up, I think he's just going to kind of drop back, hope they go quick, and then make one big late run. Harper City. The 2 is the horse to beat. He's the fastest in here, I think, and he's cutting back. So he might be able to get the lead on the cutback, which is very, very tough. Lots of 1-2 for me. 6-7 or 5-7 would be the others. The 5 Ignite the Storm, I'd give a look to, turning back a little bit. He's also shown speed in the debut at 6.5, and in 3 of the 4 races has been more forwardly placed. This is a better spot for him. The 7 Serenade at Sea last time out, just kind of backed up after getting sort of shuffled early. The debut race was really solid, and if there was a repeat of that effort, it would win this race. We'll see what Serenade at Sea shows up with on Friday. 1-2 for me, some 6 and 7. I'm not as excited about the 4, who's obviously a player in here and could win this, but just with all those chances, burned a little bit of money recently, beaten favorite a couple times we've seen already. I'll go in a different direction. Let's move to race number 3. This one is mile and a 16th on the inner turf, $7,500 claimers. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. I thought the 6 is the horse to beat. Text me up, so this isn't a favorite I'm going to try to beat, or I will go against. She was tracking just behind the leader. She was in the 2 path. She was in between horses. She moved up to second. She tried to press the leader that day, Machisma, and she just faded, and that horse ended up going wire to wire. I thought Text Me Up is a really good fit in here. The 5 right next door, Wicked Mia, will be in the mix for me too. Her turf form overall might be a little better than it looks at first glance when you just look over, she's 0 for 4. But even with just looking at her speed figures, they're really comparable to her races on the synthetic, and her turf form You know, she was second against 25 claimers in a race in July of last year. Then she was fifth in a race where the winner was an easy winner and then came back to win their next start. So lost to a sharp horse. And in that race, that sharp horse who was really fast just kind of got the lead and crushed. So you start digging into her form a little bit, and all of a sudden, I think she looks a little bit better. And then recently, she's in very nice form. She's put back-to-back good races together, visually impressive last time out. And now she'll go back to the turf, and she's feeling pretty good right now. The 2 is going to be in the mix for me also because she's actually quicker than what we saw from her in her last start. Really in her last couple, because they went pretty quick early in those races. Now she's stretching out, and I could see them getting really aggressive with her from the inside, and I'm gonna throw her in 1 or 2 races or in 1 or 2 pick fives just because I think there are chances for her to get loose, to get brave at a big price. So 2, 6, and 5 will be in a lot of tickets for me. I think the 6 is the horse to beat. 5 really solid at the level and fits here with the group. And the 2 is the fun sort of wild card. The 1, Trish the Dish, would be no shock at the level. I just sort of like a couple of the others more in here. Her recent form hasn't been as good. This is a lot softer of a spot overall. But even recently, in her last start on June the 29th, she was not as good as Text Me Up in that race. And the 4, Little Fire, I don't really have any problems with her. Her turf form isn't bad. She's only been on the grass a few times. And the one here at Woodbine, the 15 non-2, was solid. She won over at Fort Erie in a race when she was favored. And as of late, she's been in pretty good form. The June 29th race was not bad behind Wicked Mia, who was much better that day, but I don't mind her if you're spreading out a little in here. I just sort of had her stacked below 2, 6, 5. That next tier for me would be the 1 and the 4 as we move along to race number 4 at Woodbine on Friday. This one is a maiden race going a mile in the 16th. We 3-year-olds and up Ontario sire maidens, and that optional 40 claiming price. I'm going in the middle here. The horses who I was the most intrigued by were the 4, 5, and the 6. The 6 is the horse to beat, obviously, getting some class relief. This is a horse who's been facing better and is probably the fastest in here. I guess it depends on what the 2 will do. A horse who's been quick in some shorter races, and if they wanted to get aggressive, they probably could too. The 6 will be forwardly placed at least. I think I prefer the 4 the most in here. Aramos, lightly raced with upside, was a career best effort last time out, and it was when he went a little bit longer for the first time. It was the first time stretching out. I don't know if it was as much of the turf as it was going longer. Overall, pretty good body of work. And the 5 is interesting to me too in here. Blonde Dynamo. This one is going to make the 3rd start of the form cycle now. Sometimes I stop for a second because I can't even read my own notes. And I could see a nice step forward for Blonde Dynamo. And Bill Needle does have some legitimate excuses for some of the lackluster efforts. And now he will go 3rd start of the form cycle. Blinkers come off, drop in class. It should be go time for him. What do you do with horses like the 2 and the 3? Blasito, who could get aggressive. High Treason, whose races going long on the synthetic are not bad when you just isolate those particular races and look at, under those circumstances, long on the synthetic. So maybe High Treason, if this is a spread race for you, if you're looking for an under horse. To me, 4, 5, 6 were the ones I will build around for the most part. Maybe a a little bit with the 2 catching a flyer here in case. But is anyone else really, like, aggressive or that's the thing that, the 5 Blonde Dynamo will be forwardly placed also, as well as 6. So I guess maybe there'll be a little more speed in here. It's not as if any of them are dead set on needing it. They can just get forwardly placed and go and sort of inherit it if no one's there. 4 is the one who should overall get a trip, and maybe because there's not that much speed in here, he just sort of ends up mid-pack and not way out of it. Let's move to race number 5. This one is 7.5 furlongs on the inner turf, $25,000 claimers. I'm going to go to the number, this one's kind of Captain Obvious race for me, 6 and 8. I had a tough time getting past them running really well in here. Spirit Animal, the 8 Steak and Cheese, who's now going to come into the new barn first start off the claim. Both of them just make a ton of sense. They're both really logical. We don't have to spend a whole ton of time on them. The inside 2 would be the other 2 I was looking at. The problem is just from a tactical standpoint, like the 1's going to spot the field, I think, in comparison to the others, right? The 2 at least should be forwardly placed and could at least give you a nice thrill and a good run for your money in here. Been pretty honest, been pretty consistent. 3rd start of the form cycle now. A barn who's very capable and really good first start off the claim. Like, not a bunch of knocks on Hallie's Hero. Just from a pace standpoint, though, I'm a little worried she can sit, but now at 7.5, or he can sit at 7.5. I think he'll probably be a little closer, and that could put him in a tough spot with, Mad Dog and Joe. So Spirit Animal, the 8 Steak and Cheese, who's got a little versatility there. Then I'd go back to the 2. So it was 6-8-2 for me. The 1. It seems like there were a couple horses like this in the sequence that are just sort of deeper closers from the rail. They fit from a class standpoint. It seems like some of their better races aren't as of late. But the 2 back race for Lopachko would be very competitive here. And just a little bit of inconsistency as far as like running style and needing a trip. And will they get it? They split decisions with a couple of the horses I've been mentioning here. Had Spirit Animal run by him last time out. A couple starts back, out finished Steak and Cheese. Let's close things out in race number 6 at Woodbine on Friday. So I thought the 2 was the horse to beat and kind of a standout based on pattern coming into this race. Twisted Path is a horse who had time off from October to June, showed up in June, good effort at the level, made an early move, tired. The race has already come back live. When I say live, I mean it's come back productive. The second place finisher came back to win their next start at the 15 non-winners of 3 level. So the horse that finished right in front of Twisted Path. You can also see the Twisted Path outfinished 4 other of Friday's rivals. So these exact same horses that were just behind her, she's going to face them again. She also has more reason to expect some improvement than some of them because she's going to be making her second start back. Now, I did think the 4 Blockbuster with the blinkers coming off, if he can get the lead and be forwardly placed in here, he's a bit intriguing at the level. So from a pace standpoint, I think I would throw him in, looking at the rest of the field and thinking maybe he can be a horse who's on the engine, give me a little value with some front speed. The 1 Tardar is kind of the key because I think they're going to be going, and another wild card. So I'm going to go 4, 2, 2, 4 everywhere. The 2 kind of is the horse to beat. Deeper tickets, I'd throw in the 1 at a big price. Possibility of this horse at least getting a really nice spot from the inside. Blockbuster can sit a little bit. And then after, like I'm cold on Papa's Place. He could beat me here. And the 6/5 season would be one that I would include. Again, another price if you're going a little deeper, you're trying to beat a short price here. For me, I thought the 2 was more the horse to beat than the 5. So I would build around that one if I was looking to key in. I throw a blockbuster in. If I'm looking for a bigger price, the 1 and the 6 would also be in the mix for me. However, you're playing Woodbine on Friday. Wish you the best of luck. Every day that there is racing over at Woodbine, we will have some analysis for you with videos just like this. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, all the different videos go there. And then as far as the podcast is concerned, all the content I have comes out on a podcast together. So if you want to just listen to it all together, there will be audio from this, from Saratoga videos, from Louisiana Downs videos, Del Mar videos. There will be NFL content there, wrestling content there, Star Wars, Marvel, everything together on That's What G Said podcast. You can subscribe to that podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Also, come follow me on Twitter. It's me, Gino B. We're also on Threads now, G Bacola, same as over at Instagram. Thanks so much for listening, folks. Good luck on Friday over at Woodbine. Talk to you again real soon.